So a few informational interview pro tips here. First and foremost, use flattery. Feel free to stroke the other person's ego a little bit to, tell them that you think they're an expert in their field, that you really look up to them, that you want to be like them when you grow up, and that you're so curious about how they were able to build such a successful career. That will create a sense of reciprocity and kind of willingness for the other person to take the time out of their day to meet with you for a coffee chat. In a pre-COVID world, it'd be great to meet in person, to go to the local Starbucks or Pete's and say, hey, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Would love to chat. Now that everything's virtual, most of these things are going to happen over Zoom. So the good news is you save maybe $5 or $10 on buying drinks for you and the other person. But if you are in person, it's polite to always offer to pay. They may not even let you, but for the cost of a latte, you're going to get a ton of wisdom and experience and guidance from this individual. So it's definitely a great investment. And if you do have a resume you can send them when reaching out for the informational interview, or a link to your LinkedIn profile, it helps them understand your background, where you are in your journey, and then you can kind of paint the picture of where you want to go and what you want to learn from them and their experiences. So one thing I want to highlight here and discourage you, I don't want you to ask people to pick their brain. Like, nobody actually wants their brain picked. You want your head cut open and somebody just poking around in there. Not a great way to ask for it, and it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. So I've got a great kind of response here that I encourage other people do if people ask them to pick their brains. And it's basically saying, hey, let's hone in, be super specific. Tell me what you want to talk about. What are the 1 or 2 burning questions you have? And then I'll do my best to answer via email if I can, or be willing to set up a meeting if I think there's more that we can dive in there. But I just want to, again, discourage you against saying, hey, I just want to pick your brain. No, think through, what do you actually want to learn? What are you hoping to get out of it? Start with the end in mind. At the end of a 20-minute conversation with somebody, if you had learned X, Y, or Z, that would be a great conversation. Tell them that on the front end, so you guys both know what the desired outcome or goal of the meeting is. And so here's a simple email template for landing your informational interviews. Starts off with, first and foremost, putting the name of somebody else that is a mutual connection in the email. Great way to get the email opened. And in general, when you're sending emails, you want to increase the open rate. So by citing somebody that gives you some social proof, and one of the ways you get these recommendations is by, at the end of each of your informational interviews, you want to ask the person you just talked to, hey, who else do you know that I should talk to? Are there other folks in your organization or at other organizations that might have complementary skill sets or backgrounds or experiences that could also help me in my journey? So again, you can kind of read through the email here. Basically says, hey, I'm looking to explore this type of opportunities. I know you're really experienced it. Somebody I met with last week said you would be a phenomenal source of information, really a wisdom and expert in your field. I'm politely asking for a brief amount of your time, offer to buy the cup of coffee if you're going to meet in person, or share your phone number or Zoom link. And then again, in the signature, thanks. And I include a LinkedIn link to your profile so that they can look you up and learn a little bit more about who you are and what you've done so far in your career. So there's kind of a cyclical process that comes with informational interviews. First, you want to identify people to interview. You need to reach out to them and request the interviews. Obviously, not everybody's going to respond, and everybody who does respond, they're not all going to say yes. So you want to have kind of a sales funnel of people you're interested in. Maybe you're interested in 10 different folks you reach out to with the hopes of getting 5 of them to respond, and then 3 of them actually schedule interviews with you. You definitely want to prepare questions and have your elevator pitch ready to go, conduct the interview, and then at the end, always send a thank you note to anybody who graciously shares their time.